Movies.
A few movies I saw this week. I saw The Butler, fantastic cast, great acting. Forest Whitaker's incredible. I love all the different actors playing the different presidents. The storyline of the movie felt incredibly patronizing, condescending, I don't know, schmaltzy. It didn't resonate with me in the way that I would have hoped. I'm familiar with the history of all these different events that were going on across these presidencies, and it almost felt like a Forrest Gump style clip show, but without the comedy. And anyway, it didn't resonate with me as much as I was hoping, despite the fantastic acting. So I'm only giving it 2 stars with a confidence of 3. I watched The King of New York, which is a very interesting role for Christopher Walken, kind of a crime boss sort of guy. I realized halfway through watching it that I had already seen it before, so it didn't stick with me that much, despite, again, some very interesting acting and some very cool cameos by younger versions of actors that became much more popular later, people like Michael Perrineau, etc., etc. Didn't really stick with me, totally washed over me, and went, oh, okay, and I've already forgotten most of the movie, so there's another 2 stars with a confidence of 4, I'll say, since I've seen this movie twice now. High Fidelity was recommended to me on Netflix. It's a John Cusack movie. I feel like it's something I might have liked more when I was younger, 14 or 15 or something. Here's the problem: John Cusack's character is not likable at all. He's kind of a terrible person. He, broke up with his girlfriend and wants her back, and you find out, why they broke up and all that, and she's not at fault at all, really. Very small, but really it's all him. And yeah, he kind of changes over the course of the movie and he becomes a better person, but I didn't find myself rooting for him at all. Still, a cool role for Jack Black, and the guy that I primarily know for Better Off Ted is one of the scientists. I wish I could remember the actor's name, but there were some fun moments in there, but I could have cared less about, John Cusack's character getting what he wanted, his girlfriend back. That one though, because I did actually laugh out loud a few times. 3 stars with a confidence of 3. And Friday, Liz and I saw Inside Out. Quick pro tip for anyone that goes to the movies in theaters and likes to find cool discounting things to do with that. Visa Signature. It's a lot of Visa cards say Visa Signature on it. If you go to fandango.com/Visa Signature, I believe, you type in your card number to make sure it works. Once every 30 days during the summer, if you buy a movie ticket for a Friday show, it's buy one, get one free, and that's up to a $20 maximum, so pretty much covers IMAX movies and that kind of stuff, so that's great. Use that sometimes. Another cool thing with the Visa Signature Fandango thing is you can get 20% off Fandango bucks, which is just money you spend on fandango.com, so I buy all my movie tickets with Fandango bucks because that means that I'm getting 20% off all the movies I get. Try that out too. Inside Out, what did I think of it? I thought going into it that it was going to make me cry, instead of a couple really strong crying moments. I just kind of found myself weeping continuously through the entire movie. It was really brilliantly done, without a doubt the best Pixar movie since Toy Story 3, and I guess the best original Pixar movie since Up, which makes sense because it's Pete Docter and a lot of the similar people involved with Up. It's a movie that showed an incredible amount of restraint, because when you're talking about going inside someone's head and personifying different emotions and creating these little islands for different parts of their personality and all that, it's so important to have a clear structure there, that a framework that's going to help the rest of the movie move along, because you can run into, I guess the movie that I think about the most that had this problem was Inception, where when you just talk about dream logic, to be fair, I enjoyed Inception a lot, but dreams are something that, as everyone has their own experience with them, can be wild and crazy, and there's flying and all sorts of very fantastical things that did not make an appearance at all in Inception. And and the fact that was all left unsaid was kind of strange to me. What I really like about Inside Out was it very clearly establishes the rules of what's going on inside people's heads, and it sticks to them, and it's very easy to follow, and it works within that logic. And you know what? It's the first Pixar movie I've ever seen that I could imagine actually being a really good show, because it's a lens to view the world through that I think would help reframe and make a lot of different aspects of life very interesting. We're covering essentially one singular important moment in this little girl's life and stretching that over an hour-and-a-half movie. I shouldn't say stretching. We're moving a very quickly pace, but it's very easy to imagine treating it like any of those many shows that, will follow someone through middle school or high school or that kind of thing. I could really imagine some interesting things happening with that. And we got little peeks into what's going on inside her parents' heads and, bus drivers and all sorts of other people. And all those characters are really fascinating, and it's really fun to see the, the subconscious and everything everything going on inside their head. So I would love to see more of this kind of world, more of these characters, and these, again, it's a frame to view the world through. Now what's interesting about this is that I think this might be the first Pixar movie that resonates far more with adults than children. Now this is just a theory, I haven't talked to any children that have seen the movie, but I think when you're a kid at that age, this is about a little girl at 11, you know, kind of going through some changes, obviously a big change in her life, her parents moved, and kind of dealing with that, you know, through the little voices in her head. And yet, you know, when you're that age, at least I myself remember feeling this way, that you kind of feel at that age like no one quite understands what you're going through. And the fact that this is a movie that is trying so clearly to frame, here's what everyone's going through in kind of a universal way, I think at that age you might kind of resent that kind of thing, the gall of trying to say that this is a very common experience. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but I feel like if I saw this movie at that age, it might not have hit me as well, because it seems to be a movie that benefits from a little bit of distance, a little bit of nostalgia, where you can look back on that time period in your life and kind of, you know, think fondly about it, or you know, remember the pain of it, or what it was like transitioning from a kid to a slightly more adult capacity with more responsibility, and so many great moments in the movie. It generally had, you know, the tears going through most of the film, but there's some great laugh out loud moments. I really liked all the characters, they're all very memorable. The voice acting talent is perfect here, everyone's so well cast. And again, there's a craft here, and I know for a fact that this is another one of those Pixar movies where, you know, a few years into production, they were convinced that there was no way it was going to work, and I think, you know, they were doing like some test screenings with the animatics, and people were coming out of it going like, oh, that's a really cool idea, but you know, the story maybe wasn't hitting the right notes, and so, you know, in true to Pixar form, I think they really worked hard to rehash everything and craft this to be the best version of this story it could be, and I think they succeeded. They really hit all the right notes, and unlike something like Jurassic World, which felt like it had also gone through a lot of rescoping and filing off things and sanding down things, that felt very much designed by committee. The Pixar film feels like a beautifully crafted cabinet, as all the best Pixar films do. There's something really singular about a Pixar film when done right, and this is definitely the one that's been done the most right for at least, you know, 5 years or something like that. So it was really lovely. You know, the ultimate lesson of the film the ultimate lesson of the film that I took away from it was that it's important to express sadness and let sadness be a part of your life, and to show it when the time is appropriate and the time is right. And it's especially poignant because I think not just at that age, but in a lot of life, you're just expected to be happy and joyful all the time. I myself tend to be generally pretty happy and joyful, but yeah, it's important if you are sad or feeling other emotions to express that. And you know, it seems like kind of a simple message, but the movie did a fantastic job of bringing that kind of lesson out organically. So anyway, if you haven't seen it, definitely go see it in theaters. I didn't see it in 3D, so I can't recommend anything like that, but it's just a beautiful, well-told story, inside out. 5 stars with confidence of